Introduction. In today's video, we delve into the chilling world of Eerie, true lost in the wilderness horror stories. Imagine being surrounded by towering trees, the rustle of leaves, and the distant call of wildlife, only to realize that you are utterly alone. The vastness of nature can be both beautiful and terrifying, especially when survival instincts kick in. We'll explore harrowing tales of individuals who found themselves lost in the wild, battling not just the elements, but their own primal fears. As we recount these spine-tingling experiences, you'll feel the tension build with each twist and turn. What happens when the comforting sounds of nature turn into an ominous silence? How do the shadows of the forest morph into something far more sinister? These stories will take you on a journey through the darkest corners of the human psyche, where isolation breeds paranoia and desperation. Prepare to be captivated by vivid storytelling that brings these eerie encounters to life. Each tale serves as a reminder of the thin line between adventure and horror, and how quickly the wilderness can transform from a serene escape to a nightmarish trap. So grab your flashlight and settle in as we uncover the terrifying truths of those who face the wilderness and the horrors that lurked within. Story 1. The Vanishing Hiker. In the heart of the Pacific Northwest, a young hiker named Jake set out on what he thought would be an exhilarating adventure. The towering trees and lush greenery filled him with excitement as he embarked on the trail, eager to explore the untouched beauty of nature. However, as the hours passed, that thrill began to fade. The winding paths twisted deeper into the dense forest, and soon Jake realized he had lost his way. Panic began to creep in as he retraced his steps, but the familiar landmarks he once recognized had vanished. The once soothing sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves morphed into an unsettling symphony of eerie echoes. Every snap of a twig felt like a warning, and the shadows cast by the towering trees seemed to stretch and twist, playing tricks on his mind. As night fell, the isolation weighed heavily on Jake. The darkness enveloped him, amplifying his fears of the unknown. Each rustle in the underbrush sent chills down his spine, and the silence became deafening. The psychological toll of being lost in such a vast wilderness began to unravel his sanity. With every passing moment, the forest felt less like a sanctuary and more like a predator, waiting to claim its next victim. Jake's story serves as a haunting reminder of how quickly excitement can turn into terror when one is lost in the wild. Story 2. The abandoned cabin. On a solo camping trip deep in the woods, Sarah was eager to escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life. As she hiked along the winding trails, she stumbled upon an old abandoned cabin, its weathered wood and broken windows piquing her curiosity. Intrigued, she decided to explore, unaware of the unsettling events that awaited her inside. As she stepped over the threshold, a chill ran down her spine. The air was thick with dust, and the faint smell of decay lingered. At first, Sarah felt a thrill of adventure, but that excitement quickly morphed into dread as strange occurrences began to unfold. Shadows flickered in her peripheral vision, and the creaking of the cabin seemed to echo with whispers of the past. With each passing moment, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes were tracking her every move. The feeling of impending danger loomed over her like a dark cloud, and panic set in. She knew she had to escape, but the cabin seemed to shift around her, disorienting her sense of direction. As she fought to find her way out, the haunting presence grew stronger, pushing her to the brink of survival. Sarah's heart raced as she realized that the woods were not just a backdrop for her adventure. They were a living entity, intent on keeping her trapped within its grasp. Story 3. The Lost Boy. During a sunny family camping trip, young Tommy was bursting with excitement. The forest was a playground filled with towering trees and the promise of adventure. As he wandered a little too far from the campsite, he imagined himself as a brave explorer, discovering new worlds. However, that innocent adventure quickly turned into a nightmare when he realized he was lost. Panic set in as the familiar sounds of laughter faded into the distance. The once inviting woods now felt ominous, and the shadows of the trees loomed larger. Tommy's heart raced, but he quickly remembered the survival tips his father had shared. Drawing on his resourcefulness, he found a small stream and decided to follow it, hoping it would lead him back to his family. As night fell, the forest transformed into a dark maze, and the chill in the air heightened his fear. The emotional impact of separation from his family weighed heavily on him, and tears streamed down his cheeks as he called out for them, his voice swallowed by the vastness of the wilderness. Yet deep within, a primal instinct kicked in. Tommy built a small shelter from fallen branches and leaves, determined to survive until morning. His innocence was replaced by a fierce will to find his way back home, showcasing the strength that can emerge in the face of fear and uncertainty. Conclusion. As we wrap up our exploration of eerie, true lost in the wilderness horror stories, let's recap the chilling tales we've shared. We began with the story of the vanishing hiker, where Jake's initial excitement turned into a desperate struggle for survival as he faced the overwhelming isolation of the forest. Then we journeyed to the abandoned cabin with Sarah, whose curiosity quickly morphed into dread as she sensed a haunting presence watching her every move. Finally, we followed young Tommy, whose innocent adventure during a family camping trip transformed into a harrowing fight for survival as he navigated the emotional turmoil of being lost. Each of these stories highlights the primal fears we all share when faced with the vastness of nature: fear of isolation, the unknown, and the instinct to survive against all odds. We encourage you to reflect on your own experiences and fears of being lost in the wild. If you enjoyed these spine-tingling tales, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating content. Like this video and share it with friends who appreciate a good scare. Join us as we continue to explore the darker side of nature and the human experience. Your engagement helps us bring more thrilling stories to life, so stay tuned for our next adventure.